I am so excited to share with you my healthier version of the classic holiday treat called Christmas crack. My recipe can be made quickly and easily because it doesn't require any boiling of sugar and butter on the stovetop. Instead, it's made nutrient dense with healthier and creamy almond butter, and it's naturally sweetened with maple syrup. I'm also using all natural chocolate chips and organic sprinkles to avoid any refined white sugar or corn syrup. This can also be made allergy-friendly with gluten-free table crackers. I'm starting with a jelly roll size baking sheet, and then I'm going to cover it with some aluminum foil. And this will make it so much easier to clean up the mess as well as get the crack in and out of the pan. And then you'll want to lightly spray it with some non-stick, and I'm just using coconut oil. Next, we want to add our cracker layer, which is simply saltines, and you can use either regular or you can use gluten-free. These are also commonly known as table crackers. So we're just going to start by simply lining our pan with the crackers. Now you'll want to fill your entire cookie sheet. And you can see that I have a little gap down here on the end. So I'm just going to take some crackers and kind of break them in half and then fill in the gaps. So if you're a fan of playing Tetris, you'll love this part. Next, we want to make our caramel layer, and I'm making this healthier by using some almond butter as well as maple syrup. And to make it really easy to measure out, I'm just using a 2-cup measuring bowl. I'm going to fill it to the 2/3 cup line with my maple syrup. And then I'll add in my almond butter until it gets to the 1 1/3 cup line. And then I'll just stir it together with my spatula until it's well combined. Now here comes the fun part where we're going to pour it over our crackers. And it's going to fill in all those little holes and cracks. And then with our spatula, we can just go through and spread it around so it covers all of our crackers. Now we're going to put this into a 400-degree oven for 7 minutes. While our base layer is in the oven, we can go ahead and prep our chocolate. I'm just going to pour 2 cups into a microwave-safe bowl. And you can use any chocolate that you like that meets your dietary preference. To help it melt down nice and smooth, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of coconut oil. And then I'm going to melt this in 30-second intervals in my microwave. I'll take it out and stir it in between until it's melted and smooth. After 3 intervals of 30 seconds, my chocolate is nice and melted. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a stir so it's perfectly smooth. For my sprinkle layer, I'm using these all-natural sprinkles from Supernatural. I love these because they're soy-free and they don't contain any artificial food coloring. So now our chocolate layer and our sprinkles are ready to go as soon as our crackers are done. So after 7 minutes in the oven, you can see how our almond butter layer is all warm and bubbly. We'll give our chocolate a quick stir and then we can pour it on top. I want to make sure it's spread all the way across my pan before I start mixing it in. That is a lot of chocolate. And now with our spatula, we can just go around and very gently spread our chocolate. Now we could have just dropped our chocolate chips on top of this layer, put it back into the oven for several minutes, and then spread them if they were melted. But I find that melting the chocolate first before we pour it is just a little bit easier, and it's also more foolproof depending on the type of chocolate that you're going to use. And now it's time to add the sprinkles. And I love how these festive holiday colors are set off by that dark chocolate. And you get to decide when you have enough sprinkles. I probably used up about 2 tablespoons. Now you'll want to let this cool completely before you break it into pieces. Now you can leave this out on your counter until your pan cools off, and then you could put it into your fridge to help it cool quicker, or put it into your freezer. Or if you're impatient like me, then we can slide the crack with the aluminum foil out of the hot pan and onto our cooling rack, and then our cooling rack can go into the freezer. The nice thing about foil is that it's cool to the touch very quickly. So I'm just going to set my cooling rack right next to my pan and slide it right onto my cooling rack. And then this can go into my freezer until it's set. I just took this out of the freezer after 30 minutes and it is perfectly set. So now we can lift it off the foil and then crack it into pieces and put it into our serving bowl. So you can see how the almond butter and maple syrup filled in the little cracks and holes in the cracker. And then it has this delicious layer of chocolate. And then of course sprinkles on top, which make everything more fun. So you can decide if you want to break it along those score lines or go a little bit more avant-garde. Either way, it's going to taste the same. Which is amazing. That is so good. It's amazing how something so simple can taste so yummy. As soon as I bite in, I get that kind of soft texture of the cracker that's been infused with the almond butter and the maple syrup. And then I get the little bit of crunch that comes in from the hardened chocolate. And then having a little more texture from those sprinkles just makes it extra yummy. Now, although this has a lot less sugar than a traditional Christmas crack recipe, it is still a treat and will need to be eaten in moderation. But at least you know you're eating something with some clean, nutrient-dense ingredients without any refined white sugar or high fructose corn syrup. And you won't be upsetting any gluten allergies when you use the gluten-free crackers. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me today in my kitchen, and I've included a link to the full recipe in the video description below, which takes you to my website, gentletummy.com. And I also invite you to like and subscribe to my channel. And if you know anyone else who would love this recipe, please share this video with them. And I cannot wait to have you hang out with me in my kitchen again.